Happy Friday, everybody. This is Rachel Uchitel. You're listening to Misunderstood with myself and my producer, Kelli Brink. Thanks for joining us for another Friday episode.
Welcome back to Happy Hour. And this is like a very extra happy hour today. I'm very happy. Are you? We just got off with David Yontif. That was fun.
Yeah,
we are actually drinking today.
We are drinking. It's early. We're drinking. We're excited about the weekend. So I think it was a long weekend for a lot of people because it was 4th of July. And a lot of people took the long weekend to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And
just a weird week, too, that it fell on a Tuesday. And it was kind of like a nothing week. A lot of people took the whole week off. So, yeah, it's been weird getting back into
what have you been
things.
doing this week, Miss Thing?
I can't talk about it.
Why?
No, I can't. I'm in an undisclosed location right now, somewhere at a
But with
lake
who?
house.
Let's talk about with who. Okay, I'm going to say it just because you're not going to get honest. So Kelli went out on a date I'll be tame, out on a date with someone who she liked last week, and then he invited her away this week. And so she decided to go, and he picked her up on his plane baller and then took her to his house and then took her to his lake house. And that is where she is at the moment. So we are on the path of getting her married. Boom. So we're really
we'll see.
Yeah. Well, we've got a long time and a lot of
a year and a half.
Yeah, and a lot of suitors that might show up in between. But in the course of the last 2 days, this guy's on your number one spot.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Going well. I have nothing but good things to say. So,
and it was funny beforehand. I made sure she, gave me her location, gave me all his info, so that if I needed to get on a plane and get really excited about trying to find her because she went missing, I could at least locate him, because I love stuff like that. I feel like I would be a great witness, like eyewitness to a murder, or someone great about finding you if you were missing, because I love all that stuff. Like, I went and looked for Chandra Levy when she was missing in Washington, D.C.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
We've never talked about that. How have we never talked about that with my true crime stuff? And oh my God.
I don't know. I was so into that. So I'm just waiting for a true crime that I can be involved in. I don't want it to be yours or anything.
I know you were kind of hoping it was going to be mine. You were like, oh my gosh, that'd be so fun if you go missing. Wyatt and I could go on an adventure.
Well, now that I'm friends with Bo Dietl, I mean, we can,
that's a
knock down
changer.
doors and find you.
Yeah.
I don't even need him, though. I'm good enough on my own.
You do. I mean, you don't need anybody.
Right. So, all right, just to recap, though, we're not going to get into it because you're there with the guy. He's right in the background, but things are going well. And we'll recap next week when he's not in the room.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Okay, good.
It's been
we love it.
Real fun.
So it's interesting because you're having a good week. There's a lot of people having bad weeks. So there's been some news about a lot of breakups. Kyle Richards and Mauricio have split. They're not announcing a divorce, but they have announced that they are splitting. Not only that, Billy Porter and his husband Adam Smith announced that they were getting a divorce. Ricky Martin and Jawan Yosef, I can't pronounce the right name, but are getting a divorce after 6 years. Kevin Costner and Christine Baumgartner are in a major issue with court and her not wanting to vacate the property. That came up this week. And then Brittany Snow is getting a divorce from her husband, Tyler, who was one of the guys on Selling the OC. I don't know if you watched that. So there was 4 big announcements in the last 3 days about people who are separating or getting a divorce. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, I have to say with Kyle and Mauricio, you and David called that way before it was on anyone's radar, really, when you had him on the show the first time. So,
it's so hard to speculate on things because so many people in the Bravo world will come and attack you for your thoughts.
Yeah.
So who knows what goes on behind closed doors, but it seemed like where there's smoke, there's fire. Where there's a lot of rumors, there's something to it, But there are rumors right now that she's involved with a woman, Morgan Wade, a country singer who no one's ever heard of, by the way.
I had never heard of her.
Yeah, but everyone I'm sure is listening to her music now. But I don't know about this whole lesbian late in life thing. Like, would you become a lesbian late in life?
So,
oh my God, you would?
I mean, no, but it's like a whole epidemic. Like, I'm just saying it's happening a lot. What's the other woman? What?
Bronwyn from The Other Housewives. She was married with 7 kids and then talked about her
Kim
orgasms all over.
Zolciak went through a whole lesbian phase. You guys were talking about Madonna earlier. You know, same thing. There is kind of an epidemic of that later in
I'm
life
so into
lesbian stuff.
A-type personalities,
Yeah,
alphas that like, and by the way, I would love to date me because I'm an alpha. I take care of everything. I handle
that's
everything.
true. I can
No
attest to
one
that.
is better than me in handling the biggest crisis scenarios down to like figuring out flights to go on vacation. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
and it's hard for me to date someone because I haven't found someone who's as good, if not better than me. And I would like to be the female. I'd like to lay
I
back
know,
and be like, sure, handle it. I want to be the
right?
woman here and just like sit back and be sexy and hot. But like,
Yep,
I can't because I'm handling too much shit. So it's
I know.
very hard to find a manly man, much less a manly woman. So it just wouldn't work for me
Yeah.
because I'm not about to like pretend that I'm interested in all that sexual stuff with women because I don't even get into that with myself. So, whatever. All right, let's move on from this conversation,
Okay.
actually.
But back to Morgan Wade and Kyle. I don't really buy it either. I know there's the tattoos, the rings or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Lots of things that could but maybe it's just like I had a best friend necklace with my best friend in 6th grade. We
Yeah.
weren't lesbians. So I mean,
Right.
I don't really think she's going that way now. Plus Mauricio, geez, he's like very attractive. They were together almost 30 years. I really don't see it. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
It's hard. But whatever. We don't know about what goes on behind closed doors. I think it's really hard to
If
speculate.
so, good for them.
Yeah,
Great.
for
But
sure. Who gives a
I
shit?
think it's
Yeah.
just
Good for them. Like, as long as
speculation
they're
and
happy.
rumor. Yeah.
The next big thing that happened this week was news about airport freakouts. The most recent one from
Yes.
today is that, well, basically, bad behavior at airports and on commercial flights has plagued the U.S. and now it's spread to Mexico. A woman was caught destroying a bunch of electronics because she didn't get a refund because they didn't find her flight information, blah, blah, blah. And so that was all caught on camera. And then something that we all by now have seen is the video of the woman on the flight who I think they were going from Dallas to Orlando, maybe. And the woman who thought she saw someone who didn't exist in the back of the plane and kind of had a freak out, wanted to get off. Everyone ended up having to get off the plane and it was delayed for 5 hours. So that was
Yep.
all over the news. What I found interesting about that is like two things actually. No one got to the bottom of like who the guy was at the back of the plane that didn't exist. Don't we
Right.
want to know who that is? Because a lot
And
of
they
people,
just, yeah.
a lot of people has popped up on Instagram being like, I believe that it was, something weird going on back there and no one's getting to the bottom of it. I mean,
Yeah.
okay, well, let's get to the bottom of it. What happened? And I want to know when they all deplaned and they all got back on, she didn't get back on, but did the guy who what didn't exist get back on?
I
Like,
mean, we
you could
don't
check
know.
the
Maybe she was the only,
manifest.
yeah, maybe she's the only one who could see the guy.
Weird.
The what also is weird to me, the only camera angle, the only clip we have that I've seen is that one and only one that's gone viral on Instagram. You would think everybody would have had their cameras out filming it, but we've only seen one video of it, and it just really quickly pans to the back. You can't see anything really.
Yeah, no one
She
from the
was
back took any video. I think that's weird.
right, which is weird. I think so many people would have been taking video. But I think I said this before. Carrot Top was documenting this because he was on that flight.
Yeah.
I think we should talk to him and get his take on it. He was super pissed because he was supposed to be watching the fireworks in Orlando that night. They had to deplane. They were like delayed by like 5 hours, everyone on the plane. So it was a huge ordeal. Her name hasn't come out, I don't think. Nobody's
No,
talked about who
and
she
a lot
is
of people have
or
actually
anything.
said, Rachel, you should try and get her on the show because we want to hear her story. I want to hear her
Yes.
story. So
I want it.
the
Yes.
woman on the plane who saw the fake man in the back, I'm inviting you on Misunderstood with Rachel Uchitel. We would love to hear your story. We want to
Yes.
hear all about it and get to the bottom of what happened on that flight. So this is an open invitation
Absolutely.
to make yourself known. Write me on DM and let me know how I can book you because that's a story I want to hear. Because I think she's misunderstood, this poor woman. I mean, she either had a mental breakdown, she was hopped up on some sort of edibles, drinking, or she really saw something she believed was, something that she couldn't fly with. So I want to know what happened.
I
And
want to
I
know what
want to know
happened.
what's
Everyone
happened in
wants
the
to know what happened.
aftermath. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So
Yeah.
the
Yep.
other
Big news.
Yeah, big news. So the third story I found very interesting and close to my heart because I'm a New Yorker, even though I live in Florida now. Former New York Mayor Bill de Blasio and his wife are separating after all these years of being married and staying together. Yeah, they said they did not plan a divorce and continue living together for now in their Brooklyn townhouse, but they did announce they are going to start dating other people. So I found that was very interesting that they're going to live under the same roof, date other people. He's probably on Bumble. I'm on Bumble. I'm going to swipe through and see if he's on there, and I'll let you guys know.
Oh my God. I think it's odd that they would even have to say, we're going to start dating other people. Like, who cares?
Well, I'll tell you why that is. I know why that is. Because I've dated men, and you guys all faulted me for it. I have dated men who are getting a divorce and separated, but live in the same residence as their ex-wives at the time. And just because the divorce hasn't gone through, people go nuts. They say I'm a mistress. They say I'm cheating. But people don't understand. It takes years sometimes to get a divorce, people. So it's like, I was faulted and called out and, all this stuff happened. They called me a mistress, blah, 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 because I dated a guy. By the way, I went on 3 dates with this dude whose wife got pissed because I think she just got jealous that he actually was going out with someone who, was known in the press or whatever.
Yeah.
And she called the Daily Mail and let them know that he was dating me, that he had, I had taken him away from her and her kids. By the way, I got so pissed because of the press that I called his divorce lawyer. I made sure that he had actually filed for divorce when he told me he had, that he lived in the guest house. Like, I confirmed all of it, but no journalist cares to confirm it. So it looked like I was a mistress to everyone else. And it's just so wrong. I mean, people do all sorts of things when they're getting a divorce. And I think nowadays it makes a lot of sense to announce what your plans are so that if you're seen out with another woman or you're seen on Bumble, people are going to make sure that they're not shaming you for it because at least it's been announced that you guys are not together anymore. So I think that's what
I never thought of it that way, actually. I was like, why would they do that? Who cares? Nope, I get it now.
People care. They care just because they want to shame you. So,
and they don't need any more.
Yeah. So let's talk about what people have. Okay. So guys, we want to let you know that we really appreciate you coming on and listening to Happy Hour because it's a lot of bullshit for this little episode. But no, we want to get into some of our former episodes so we can kind of break them down so that if you haven't caught up or you just started listening, you can go back and listen to some episodes that we loved that we think you should reconsider when you're, instead of just going forward, you can go back and binge on some when you're taking long drives, when you're on an airplane, whatever it is. So Kelly, do you have some that you want to steer people towards and tell us why you like them?
So especially right now, since relationships have been weighing heavily on my mind, we've had some kick-ass relationship experts on the show. Dr. Gary Lewandowski, world-renowned love scientist. Everybody needs to go back and listen to that. He's written books. He's just an expert in his field. He had so much good advice on red flags and, communication and things like that. I loved that episode. And it was one of our earlier ones. And so if you haven't, caught up, go back and listen to that one. He was one of my favorites.
I think people skip that also because they don't know his name. So they probably skip to somebody that they do know their name. But that was a great episode to really break down red flags, exactly what you said. I mean, it's a great episode for sure.
Exactly. It was great. And then Dr. Drew, of course, he was one of the very second, I can't remember.
I think he was the second.
But yeah, we talked about love addiction, things like that. A lot of your time together that you guys have spent when you did the show with him. That was a great episode. So all of these relationship experts are the ones that I've gone back and listened more than once because the advice that they had to give was really great. And then Eliza Ben Shalom from Jewish Matchmaking. You don't have to be Jewish to enjoy that episode. She had so much wonderful dating advice, advice for taking it slow, really getting to know somebody. So those were some of my favorites.
Those episodes, and we've gotten so many people from Netflix, from the top shows on Netflix. We've been really lucky that they come on our show. Another one that
there's more to come.
For sure. We have some really exciting, good ones coming up. But we really have our finger on the pulse of what's going on Netflix, basically because I'm a homebody and I
Love
watch
that term.
Netflix all the time. And when I see a show I like, I just DM them and hope that they'll come on the show. And they usually do, actually.
They usually do.
You know, we had a bunch of people that I think are interesting. The one that I wanted to bring up was Siri Dahl, who starred in Money Shot, the Pornhub story, which a lot of people might not think is up their alley. Super interesting episode. She's a porn star.
So interesting.
And she talked about how Pornhub affected her life and what it's like to be a porn star and in a relationship. And I think that was very interesting. And by the way, you should watch that on Netflix. It's a great show. It's a great documentary on Netflix.
So good.
Yeah.
And who hasn't seen Pornhub? I mean, come on, everybody's seen some Pornhub.
You mean
stuff
been
at
on the
some
site?
point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying, but
Yeah.
you know.
Another interesting one I wanted to bring people's attention to is Craig Schmel. So sort of an odd name, and people probably don't know him, so they probably didn't want to click on that when they're first looking through episodes. But he wrote a book called The Uninvited. He was somebody who got into all sorts of events, but he went as an uninvited guest and kept like getting in because he would like fake it till he made it. Do you know what I mean? And it was a very, very interesting episode. I find him interesting. I find him very cute.
Yes.
And so I think people will like his episode. It's a shorter episode, but something interesting to listen to.
But even if you didn't know his name, I was going to say, I knew this story. Before I knew that was his name, I had heard of him. Yes. Yeah.
And they're in talks to make a movie about his book. So you heard it here first. We found him interesting, and you guys will now know his name if he does get a movie out of it. So I also wanted to bring up Oz Perlman. Excuse me. I get that wrong every time. Oz Perlman.
That's a hard one.
Super interesting guy. He's a mentalist. You guys might know him from America's Got Talent, but he is if you look at his Instagram, he has over 1 million followers, and he is constantly working with celebrities. But he came on our show. He did one of his mentalist tricks with me, and I thought I was going to literally be the one that broke him. Like, I thought of a name that I knew he would never think of. I had just interviewed Sarma, but no one knew it hadn't come out yet. Sarma's name was in my head, Sarma from Bad Vegan, and I had just gone to dinner with her the night before. I was like, this poor guy is never going to get this name, and he picked it. I don't know how he did it. I was speechless. I don't know if you could see it in the episode or hear it. When he picked it, I was completely speechless and didn't know how he did it. So the guy,
I still don't know how he did it. I think he is literally psychic.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah. Other people we've had on, we had Mama June. Her, she's kind of back in the news this week because the father of Honey Boo Boo, Mike Thompson, who goes by Sugar Bear, he's off to rehab today, as a matter of fact. He's going to Lamar Odom's rehab facility, and he's going for prescription drug addiction. So he's checking himself in. He contacted Lamar over the weekend. We are friendly with the manager of both of them because she helped us get a couple of people on. And so we wish him the best. But, we did interview Mama June, and she, I've actually heard a lot of feedback from people that thought she was pretty incredible and smart for how she's kind of represented in TV. So that was interesting.
She is, yeah.
Also, Allison Mack was released from prison early after the Nexium sex cult case. She did 2 years out of a 3-year sentence. She was convicted on racketeering and conspiracy charges. Meanwhile, Keith Raniere got 120 years in prison. So we interviewed Josh Block, who did a whole podcast on Nexium and that cult. That was really interesting.
The Lost Kids.
Well, the Lost Kids was the one about Sea-Doo and about that cult, but he did the Nexium. Yeah. We talked about that in our episode, and he also talked about the Sea-Doo cult. I went to that school. Paris Hilton went to that school. I graduated from it. So really interesting episode. I encourage people, if they want to get to know something about me or cults, or therapeutic boarding schools, to listen to that episode. It was a very good one, an emotional one for me.
Agree. Yeah, it was great.
Next week we'll talk about some more, but we always appreciate it when you guys listen to episodes, that you make a comment, you like, you subscribe. It's really helpful for us. It lets us know how we're doing, and it helps us, move forward in our, platform.
Yeah.
Cut that
Yep.
out.
So we do have to wrap it up really quick for today. This is a really short happy hour. We're going to have a lot more next week, though. We're going to be together from your
Yes.
kitchen.
Kelli is flying to Palm Beach, Florida on Sunday for an entire week, and we have so many things happening. We have so many interviews. Then we are flying to New York to have dinner at Rayo's with 2 major guests. And then we're filming in New York on Friday, like 3 major guests. So like we have so much going on next week. I'm so excited you're going to be here. And we're going to do a bunch of beach shots and a bunch of pool shots. Kelli in a bathing suit.
Rachel in a bathing suit.
Whatever. So
nobody wants to see.
Everyone wants to see you.
Yes. It's going to be great. Okay. So I'm so excited. And I leave Sunday. So I will see you soon.
Yes. I'm so excited.
Everybody have
and we have some really interesting guests next week. Who are we hearing from next week?
Oh, gosh. Next week, we've got Chris Hansen coming up. We've got Nick Ritchie.
Great. 2 great episodes.
Yep. Really great. Chris Hansen. I mean, he's an icon. So.
Oh, and you guys, I do want to say I have had on my bucket list forever Tia Torres and her daughter Mariah to come on to talk about pit bulls and parolees. It's a show on Animal Planet about second chances. Pit bulls are the most misunderstood breed, and Mariah and Tia only hire parolees to work at Villalobos, their dog rescue. So it's so fitting for the show. It's taken me so much stalking to get them, but Mariah, who also has a new show coming out, which is very interesting. They're coming on our show next week, and it'll air, a week after, just because we're going to be promoting her new show. So we are so excited to have her on, and that's something I've been working on for like 4 months now. So feeling good about it.
You got it. Yep.
All right. Well, cheers, everybody.
Cheers, everybody. Yep. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.
My cup's not showing. Oh, here it is.
Put it in front of in front of you. Okay. All right. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening to Misunderstood. I'm your host, Rachel Uchitel. Please be sure to subscribe to the show and give us a 5-star rating and review. You can support the show by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/misunderstood with Rachel Uchitel. Do you have ideas for the show or want to reach out? Email us at info misunderstoodpodcast@gmail.com. That's spelled MISS understood. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.